Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Funk, out here in the lab. What I do what I do for you. Today I got a nice lesson. This one, I got their feeling lessons, okay? Gonna talk about one of my favorite subjects. Heads up, let's go. Right as a 25 rules to live by. Storytelling. Story with a message. This message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in to receiving them. I'm hoping you're using them. That's why you're coming back, and I got more for you. Let's go. Right thinking, mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Dealing with eternal issues. And my man Sai Guru says, inner engineering. That means from the inside, working it out. Right thinking's way of life through mental, again, spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to attain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is for all right thinkers to do just that. That's why I do what I do. Is for you so that you can know you. No hidden agenda, transparency, no hidden agenda. I'm just giving it the way I get it. I want you to learn it, understand it, to use it. I'm giving it to you. Let's go. Know thyself with the question I asked. So if you don't know, tune in and then you know. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not, I love you. They're simple. Teach them. That's what I do. What I do is for you. A person who knows not and believes that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know is asleep. I can awaken them from the spiritual alarm clock, here to enlighten you with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself. And to my eye, be true. You know, I'm big on the ego, and I'm starting to hear a lot of people talk about becoming conscious of the ego. Some people talking about you gotta kill the ego. Your ego is your personality that you relate to. Your ego is your I. It's going to be there. He ain't going nowhere. You need to understand him. You need to be able to override him, supersede him. Why? Because he's the lower nature. Your higher nature is your alter ego, your higher conscious. We got names for them. The ancients called the lower level set higher Heru. Let's talk about it. Right thinkers, let's talk about ego set versus alter ego Heru. Classic. I know before the fight how it's gonna work out, how it's gonna end up. Do you? So let's go over it. Let's talk about it. Yeah, we have egos. It's the set lower nature, which is the human personality, which we all can relate to. That's the easy part. We all can know me. Raising that level is what you want to do as a right thinker. Why? Because that's where the truth lies. And raise your conscious level to become Heru. That's the spirit that's in you, aka the hero who will defeat his evil uncle, which is your lower nature. Hope you're getting this. I like people who tune in and get the understanding. Let's go. I do it for you. Now, we all identify with set, lower nature. That's who we are. So he ain't going nowhere. Understand that. But he would be your best ally if you learn how to use him to your benefit. But watch this. Let me see. Our identity is set, lower nature, the self, the lower self. That's normal. Okay. But you have another self. There's a picture with Heru on one side and set on the other. Again, if you got good, you got to have bad. Why? To balance it out. If you got all good, you don't know bad. If it's all bad, you won't know good. How you gonna know bad from good if you just got one? So duality and understand that's why I give you this. Why? Because everything should be in balance other than the one. Okay, and everything comes from him, so there's no big deal. All right, here you go. Let's go. When you become spiritual enlightened, aka a right thinker, you know what your higher self, aka Heru, that's you. That's who you aspire to be. I don't teach that to my students. Why? Because that comes naturally. When you do the things I teach you to do, it'll happen for you. You can then do it me. So I can't teach you to be Heru. I can walk you through things that's going to help you become that for you. That's what I do. What I do. It's for you. Okay? That's the teaching. Knowing thyself, like this, is knowing set, me, the ego, from who? Heru, my higher self, my true self. Okay? That's why you have to what? Learn lower, higher. Employ conscious, righteous living, virtuous things, and you will see things change in your life. That's the kundalini going. But it takes a virtuous and righteous lifestyle to activate it. It don't just happen on its own. Something has to kickstart it. Okay? Your way of life, your lifestyle. Set the human ego ignorant, okay, of his higher self. Heru, aka your higher self. With right thinking philosophy, I will get you to become Heru. Okay, because that's the finished product of the result of learning every aspect of your character starting from Tahuti on down to your boy, Set and Nefty. So it's a process, and every aspect of your character is they've been named, labeled, identified with. When we get to that next level, that's next level knowledge anyway. Okay, I figured that part out too after a while. So it's understanding things at another level. Okay, it's like arithmetic. You learn one, two, three, and add. Then you get better. You can multiply. Then you start to divide. Then you start getting to calculus, geometry, start learning word problem, you start elevating. Same thing with your character, same thing with your spiritual enlightenment. That's how it's done. It's a process. Now let's talk about alter ego self. What's the alter ego? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The ego is who you know to be yourself. Your alter ego is who you aspire to be. Hence, aspirants. We call you aspirants. Why? Because you aspire to be better. You know there's something more. That's becoming enlightened. Watch this. I call my higher self, aka alter ego self, P Funk. The title of what I do is Sage, but my name I call it P Funk, pure real. Before I got enlightened, before all that, I was P Funk back in 1974, but I had my own concept. And I'm still living by this same concept. So I was on point then without even knowing it. So when it came full circle, okay, I'm right where I need to be. So there'd be no name changes. That would be no, I would have you calling me Tahuti and oh, no, none of that. I'm not taking none of them names. I have one. It means what it means, and it don't change. It haven't changed, and it won't change. Understand that. That's knowing thyself. Real. Here you go. We all have another identity within our own mind. That's the higher self. It's the superhero. When you reach spiritual enlightenment, you become all powerful, all knowing. Why? You got all the things you need to function and know yourself at that level. That's why. If you're ignorant, that means you don't know yourself. The purpose of knowing thyself means I put the time, the energy, and the work in to do just that. There's some things that's there to help you do that. That's why I teach. That's what I know. That's how I got it. Your body house two conscious. Lower, set, the ego self, the person. Heru, your higher self, who you aspire to be, reaching that level of what? Nihas, anointment, Christhood. The highest level of spirituality, everybody has a different name for it, but it's still the highest level, and the only way you can get there is by putting the work in. That's my point. Mark is my ego self. That's what I identify with. Yeah, the names given to me, so that's what I identify myself with. How do I see myself? What do I think of myself? Mm-hmm. P-Funk, pure real. I'm a real dude. I'm pure. I'm going to stay the way I am. Why? I'm not changing. If you know you, I knew me a long time ago. All I did now went full circle, come back around, and I can identify it with a different concept, a different perspective, where I can actually teach it. That's the fun part. Okay, here you go. That's what makes it easy for me. Now, Mark is my ego self name. P Funk is my alter ego self. That's the wise man. That's the sage. That's Heru. He's also was considered a master teacher. Okay. See, every aspect of your character, they gave it identity. They gave it a life that you could study it, learn it philosophically, put yourself in that position and become it. That's what they mean by emulating, eating on your guys. That means studying them, getting them inside you, get the knowledge of it, not physically eating it. Because on every first Sunday, y'all eat the body of Christ and drink his blood, but it's all conceptually. I know that. What if a person who's ignorant, who don't get the ritual concepts, man, y'all cannibals. So understand. Understanding people's rituals and concepts. That's all you got to do. Respectfully understand it. You ain't got to participate in it. You ain't got to do nothing. Just don't down it or degrade it because it ain't your thing. George tell you, if it ain't your thing, that don't mean it ain't the rightful thing to do. It just might not be for you. And that's understandable. Let's go. Sorry about that. Again, we are called what? Aspirants. Why? Because we are aspiring to be better people, aka right thinkers. If you turn it to me, you want something. Oh, I got something for you. That's my whole goal, is to give you something. Every day. A little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing. What I'm hearing and seeing is a whole lot of nothing. No disrespect, but moving on. Don't you hate when a paper say, oh, no disrespect, and then disrespect you? So I can do it too. Them backhand compliments. Yeah, everybody know that. All right, let's talk the ego self. The me, the I, the id. That's who I identify with. Remember all that stuff? And they getting better with the consciousness and the mind and how it works and how it ties in. They even throwing around. They stole my heart, my coherence concept. I see my man Dispenza is doing a whole 2-hour lecture on heart and mind coherence. So I know I'm on the right track. I haven't changed perspective yet. Moving on. Before I became spiritually enlightened, I was the biggest egoistic, okay, full of myself. Trust me. And I can say that now. Back then, you couldn't tell me none of that. I wasn't with none of that. It was me or nothing else. My ego was running me. I was the ego maniac. Maniac. The world evolved around me. Okay, that's ego. And we all have one. The idea to control it. Humble yourself. So I became my humility became when I started to get humble and understand that, wow, that's spiritual. I cry over a good story. I cry over a feel good situation. Why? That's spiritual. Okay, that's the point. But I was greedy. I was selfish, unfaithful. Okay, these are all egoistic qualities. And if you listening to me and those are your qualities, yeah, you egomaniac. Simple. So now the question is, it ain't no more, well, once you know, the decision is yours to do what you do. Continue to do that or change. Okay. I was doing me. Okay. Ignorance will have you do that. You won't change you until you what? You become awakened. Something have to happen. Okay. That's gonna change your life. It ain't got to be prison. It ain't got to be a near-death experience. Something that just I just saw my life all of a sudden. No, but whatever it is, the epiphany that's gonna make a change in you, you need to have that as soon as possible. I want to teach my young people because at 10 or 12 years old, you get an epiphany about you from within you, and you follow that. You can't go wrong. But if you're getting bad information, misprogramming, and you're thinking it's all about something else, you are gonna have problems. So if we give them the truth, let them run. Why? They won't go wrong. But we give them misguided, misunderstood information, they're going to go wrong. This is the difference. Watch this. Now, I was doing me. I didn't know no any better. I was ego tripping. And people go through their whole life ego tripping. Why? Because they don't see no problem with it. Oh, my ego was like Goliath size. It was big. And I use that as a metaphor because I can say that now, but back then I didn't see it. I was told I was arrogant. I was told I was conceited. I was told all of, and guess what? From what their perspective, how they saw me, I was all of that. I didn't admit to it though. I didn't see it that way. Yeah, see, ego ain't giving in. He ain't gonna stop. Trust me. That's the fight that's in all of us. And they say it ain't the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight of the dog. And the ego, mine was like Goliath, big fight. And then guess what? I was doing whatever my ego said. Sell drugs, pimp women, make a bunch of money, be the man in the neighborhood. Did all that. Okay, I fulfilled my ego. Guess what? That wasn't good enough. Why? He wanted more. See? You're never gonna satisfy wrong. Okay, it's gonna want more. Watch this now. Yeah, I was ego driven and I was ignorant, but I had belief in what I was doing. It was right. See what that belief would do? You see what belief misguided will do? No. Yeah, I believe I was the man. I believe I can do this. I believe I knew better than anybody else. That's why I don't deal in beliefs no more. Why? It will get you in trouble. I need to know. So I teach gnosis, knowing. I don't need to believe. Why? It don't serve you well when it's misguided. If you believe in the right thing, okay, that's fine. That'll serve you. But if you believe in the wrong thing, it's never gonna work for you. AKA the well-dressed lie. Just putting it out there. My ego kept God out of the mix. Could care less. Man, I was the rudest, disrespectfulest. Trust me. I was the devil. My father, I'm the devil's son. I'm pure evil. I'm pure bad. I'm just bad. And I believe that. So see the power of belief? Until what? Until I had nothing left. Your ego is the party man. When the music stopped playing and the girls ain't there and the money ain't coming in and ain't nobody around, where are all my friends? That's when you go where? Within yourself, you got nothing else on the outside. So you'll never be happy with external pleasures and things in life. Why? That can't really satisfy you. Doing the right thing, come spiritual enlightenment, serve a higher power, and you'll see a change in life. Watch this. But it left me when my ego, when me was alone, he didn't do nothing. He couldn't do nothing. That's me. I'm stuck. So I had to rely on a higher power. I called it funk. Okay, back then I was funking. I kept it real. I'm in this bad situation. I put myself here. I did all that. Okay, I have to relive that. I did that. Okay. Moving on. Watch this now. How do you learn how to defeat your ego self? Ding, 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 ding. Mine was sitting 3 years in the prison cell. Everybody have a different situation, different reason, but I got mine. I'm just keeping it like that. 10 years ago, watch this. Now, I slew my ego. By what? Changing my lifestyle. With what? Knowledge of self, aka my ancient ancestor knowledge I studied for over 20 years. I put all this study time in. Then it happened. I went in search of the truth over 30 years ago. And I found it about 20 years ago. Okay. And I learned it another 10 years. To master it by living it and doing it took me about 10 years. That's when it started. That's when the change happened. When I had my conversation with my higher self, God, in the voice of Vince Lombardi. Now, anybody who knew me young in my life, they knew that I was a football fan. But my coach of men was Vince Lombardi. My psychic know that part. Okay. My inner psychic, my higher psychic, my lower psychic, it would have been George. It would have been George Clinton voice. But I wasn't at that level at that point. So it took me back to who I knew. When your higher self, who really knows you, that's why you listen. Changed my life. Okay. That day, May 1st, 2013. Ain't never gonna forget it. Why? When something happened that changed your life, you don't forget it. Don't you remember your kid's birthday? Don't you remember your wedding anniversary? So don't you remember your birthday? So things that makes a difference, you don't forget. That's all. So moving on. I know it was my higher self. Why? Because it knew me before I was funky. Okay, funk came along in '74. I was a football fan, 19 years old, watching Green Bay Packers, following Vince Lombardi. My son went to Fordham. So yeah, I got a little connection, and it's always been there. That's how. Okay. Moving on. Yeah, funk was what I used to get me through my hard times. Now I live funky, aka a spiritual lifestyle. But I'm governed, I'm using my spiritual discipline, meaning I'm keeping God first. I'm doing what's right in His sight and doing what's right for the right reason. That's changing. I didn't always do that. I didn't always think that way. When it's changed, it's noticeable. 10 years, have I changed? Yeah, thank you. If you ask your mate, your anybody who know you, and ask them that question, and it's all affirmative, I'm not showing off. I ain't bragging. I'm just asking the question because the proof is in the pudding. I've been working. I don't get this. I just work. I put it in. So if other people knows and respecting it, that's what you're doing for. And they don't see the work I put in. They just know something going on. And I respect that. So the whole point is to change you from the inside out. Outside shouldn't change you. Last one. Oh man, I'm way over. Sorry about that. Let me get this out the way. Learn how to what? Okay. Learn how to reach your alter ego self by becoming the right thinker. Our whole goal is to get you to become your alter ego self. I do. Spirit that's in you, the Heru, that the hero in you, that when you put the work in, you'll find he's been in the whole time. Saying all that good stuff. I ain't got time, but let me wrap this up. P Funk was my way of life. They thought I was crazy back in my day. And guess what? They put me in a mental institution because I was adamant about how I felt. So I don't change. If I feel that way, it's going to be that way. So it ain't changed. It ain't just got that way. It's always been that way. So, and I stood firm there. I ain't breaking. I ain't bending. I'm not going to say Toby. All right. Now, P Funk is my alter ego, and it kept me God conscious. For some reason, I always had it there. And that's where my God consciousness comes from. Now, my studies over the years made me God wiser. Why? Because I started implementing what I'm studying, what I'm reading, what I'm learning. I'm starting to put it into use. And wow, yeah, it works. So before I give it to you, back in my old drug days, I was the cook man. I had good stuff. Why? Because that's the whole point of it. Get out of there. But that's the whole idea. When you got something good, you want to share. I had good drugs. I shared them. Now I got good information, good knowledge, so I can share it. Don't cost you nothing. All right, moving on. But it's the same effect. It's going to change you. It's going to put you in a better position. Okay, raise your conscious level to give you knowledge of self. To know thyself, you have to what? Go inside yourself. It ain't out here. It ain't up there. And find your what? Higher self. A lot of us do it with near-death experience. Higher self is God, the spirit that's in you, dwells in the heart. But a lot of us don't get there. I'm telling you how to get there with knowledge, studying, and implementing. That's the easiest route to take. All them other ones, near-death experience, having to go locked up in prison like I did, spend time. No, no. Check out your boy. I got you. Make it real easy for you. Let me wrap this up. P Funk, that's your boy. P Funk means pure real. You can't know yourself without what? Being real with yourself. That's a fact. So I have the moniker from way back then. Now that I can justify it, it ain't going nowhere. Moving on. Last one. I'm gonna appreciate you. Funk is real. It's like God, the spirit of God is real. That's my funk concept. Before I came in light, it ain't going nowhere. It's still holding true. P means what? Pure, 100%. Whereas to get my stuff back in the day. My alter ego is what? Is pure. Why? Because it's of God. 100% correct, 100% right. Know all, do all, be all. That's my word. I'm out. I hope the lesson was good. I got more. You know the deal.